You're listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. Each week, your host, Polly Requa, interviews veterinarians and individuals in the pet industry from across the nation answering pet questions. Bark and Wag podcast is produced weekly for your enjoyment, and show notes can be found at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. That's BARKNWAG.com. Please remember to subscribe to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk.
Welcome to Bark and Wag 15-Minute Vet Talk. I'm your host, Polly Requa. Today we're talking to one of our favorite vets, Dr. Laura Brown, owner of Green Tree Animal Hospital in Libertyville, Illinois. Welcome, Laura.
Hi, Polly.
Today I wanted to find out from you, how often should you brush your dog's teeth?
Okie doke.
Yep, so I was in PetSmart, and they have just a full section of toothbrushes and toothpaste and really, you know, especially having a pug, we go once a year to have Chuck's dental teeth cleaned, but we also have a lab, and I've never done anything with Maddie's teeth. So I wanted to find out, how often do you brush your dog's teeth?
Well, in an ideal world, you should brush your dog's teeth every day.
Oh, really?
Really. I mean, think about it. If you did, we brush our teeth 2 or 3 times a day, and we still go to the dentist every 6 months and get stuff cleaned off, right?
Right.
So dogs not really any different. It's just that dogs' teeth aren't quite as cosmetic as us. We don't brush them for cosmetics, but we brush them because we want to keep that tartar and plaque from building up. And even after one dental cleaning, so the next meal after Chuck the pug gets his teeth cleaned under general anesthesia, he's already starting to build plaque up. And so if you don't physically get in there and brush it off, it builds up and builds up and builds up. So the smaller breeds, there is some genetics to go with that, but the smaller breeds of dogs like pugs versus Maddie the lab, the little dogs have the same number of teeth as a big lab, but their mouths are smaller, their bones aren't so thick, there's not as much to hold their teeth in, so the little dogs kind of get more drama going on in there faster than a big dog, but everybody should brush their dog's teeth. The gold standard would be every day.
Okay. Wow.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I can hardly remember to wake up in the morning.
Right. Whenever I tell people that, they laugh at me. But I do have a few clients. I have one client that has greyhounds, and she does brush every dog, all her greyhound's teeth after, I want to say almost every meal, so at least twice a day. But they're notorious for bad teeth, right? I don't know. Do you guys have greyhounds in Colorado?
I haven't seen a lot. No,
maybe because
I think it's too cold, especially in the mountains.
Yeah, and maybe the racetracks are more, in the south, and there's a few around. They're all closed down now. But anyway, they're notorious for it. But she trained her dogs early on, and that's my tip. You need to train your dog to allow you to brush their teeth, just like you need to train them to allow them to brush their body and clean their ears. Because just if you don't train them early and make it a rewarding experience or a fun experience or an easy experience, it gets to be a struggle, and then nobody likes to do it. It's one of those things. It should maybe take like 30 seconds a day. It shouldn't be this big battle because nobody's going to do it then. So you do have to teach them early on that maybe a treat goes with it. Did you see at PetSmart like flavored toothpaste?
Yeah, that was my next question on what to pick.
Yeah, so there's chicken flavored toothpaste. Most of the dog toothpastes don't get all foamy like ours, and they're okay if they swallow it. If it's a dog toothpaste, you shouldn't use your own toothpaste. Yeah, there's some stuff in there that's not really good for dogs, especially if they do swallow it. But the dog toothpaste is meant to be swallowed. They don't spit it out or anything. If you start with the chicken flavor stuff and just put a little bit on your finger, give them a lick, try to rub their teeth a little bit, call it a day, give them a treat, and work your way up to putting it on the toothbrush, letting them lick it, giving them a treat, call it a day. They'll come to, maybe come to you, and you can have everything ready and it gets easier and easier.
Okay. And do you buy a toothbrush, or should you buy one of those little hand...
Like a finger brush?
Yeah, finger brush.
Either way. So the other tip for brushing their teeth is it's really hard to brush the inside of dogs' teeth. Like you do your own, like you can't brush their tongue and you can't brush the inside, because when you start to open their mouth, they get kind of gaggy, and then that's when they start kind of not cooperating. So I always recommend to just try to brush the outsides of all the teeth, ups and downs. But if you can keep their mouth closed, then they can't get their tongue in the way and they won't get gaggy about that. And the outsides of the teeth are the ones that get most of the drama on the big canines and the back molar, premolars. So if your dog's little and has a little mouth, then it might be best to put a finger brush, do a finger brush. Okay. But for Maddie, she might accept a toothbrush better, and just a soft toothbrush, not a really hard bristly one. So you don't have to buy anything fancy. Sometimes those little kids toothbrushes that don't have a huge brushy head fit in little dogs' mouths better. But soft brushes, sometimes I even tell people to just wrap like a washcloth on their finger. Just get a little abrasion going, abrasive action going there on the outsides with their teeth actually, their mouth actually closed together. Then their tongue can't get in the way.
So I purchase these, I don't know what they're called exactly, but they're greenies.
Yep.
It's supposed to be, I thought that handled the dental.
It helps. There's a handful of treats/dental chews that are better than nothing, but they don't hit every surface on every tooth. So if you can't brush at all, they're better than nothing. Look for the ones that are approved by the American Veterinary Dental.
Okay, yeah.
AV, they're, some of my favorites. My next favorite after brushing their teeth is another product called Oravet. They're green, like turquoise green, shaped in the shape of like a bone, and in the center of them, they have this creamy material that after the dog chews the treat, the Oravet, the creamy stuff sticks to their teeth and forms like a plaque barrier.
Okay.
The key to those is they have to chew the treat. They can't inhale it and swallow it.
Yeah, that would be Maddie.
Yeah, and there's different sizes. Little dog, it goes by body weight. The other product that I like is, have you ever heard of that dog food called TD? T for tartar.
No.
It's a diet for tartar control. There's also some over-the-counter dental care diets. IAMS and Eukanuba do put some benefits inside in their kibble too. But the goal being, as they crunch that dry food, the TD are pretty big kibble. They're big squares that as they chew them, they brush.
Okay. And I think it was probably about 8 months ago, we did a podcast on how often you should have your dog's teeth cleaned. And I can link that podcast to the show notes. But can you just let people know how often you should have your dog's teeth cleaned by a veterinarian?
So it kind of depends on your dog. There's no set answer to that. Chuck the pug might need it, like you said, once a year. And that's awesome. That's better to do it when they're not super dirty, or you haven't let the plaque and tartar get so heavy that the teeth are getting loose or they're falling out. Those kinds of procedures take double the time, so double the anesthesia. So it's better to do it preventatively once a year for Chuck. Maddie, maybe every 3 or 4 years. When they go for their annual checkups, the veterinarian, that's part of a good veterinary exam, is to kind of look in their mouth and tell you what's up with that. So little dogs tend to need it more often, every 6 months to a year. Bigger dogs, bigger mouths with some home care. If you do the home care part, brushing regularly. So let's be realistic. If you can't brush your dog's teeth every day, 3 or 4 times a week would be nice. And then on the days
Sunday.
Or once a week's better than nothing, but then 2 or 3 times during the week, they need to be getting some other sort of dental care.
Okay.
Like one of those chews or a greenie or,
Sure.
but still, they're going to get, the whole thing is though, you can't get lured into thinking if you do that, they're never going to get any tartar on their teeth because it's just not going to happen.
Right.
And even, cleaning their teeth once doesn't mean that it's good for a lifetime if you can't keep up with home care.
Right. Okay. Great. Well, this is interesting. Both girls would like another dog, so maybe I can add that to the list besides just walking the dog and letting the dog out, that they have to brush the teeth. The dogs.
Exactly. I mean, it's just like feeding them every day, and if you get them used to it and the dogs are really cooperative, it really only takes 30 seconds to a minute, and it has such a big payoff. I mean, seriously, my clients that can brush their dog's teeth, they stretch intervals between their dentals by double what other people get when they can't brush their teeth.
Well, and I'm sure it keeps your dog alive longer too.
Yeah, all that bad tartar, all the tartar and plaque that builds up is full of bacteria.
Right.
So that's bad for their bodies. It gets into their bloodstream and it's bad for their heart and their kidneys and just makes them feel yucky, even though they don't tell you they feel bad because it's a slow process. Time and time again, people tell me after their dogs get their teeth cleaned how much like they got a new, they're a little more spring in their step and they're a little more perky and stuff because it's a slow process, but to have all that plaque and tartar and loose teeth and gingivitis and when their mouth's smelly bad, that's not good for their overall health.
Okay, well, I will go to PetSmart this weekend and you convinced me.
Yeah. Well, and your vet might have some stuff too, that your vet might have like the OraVet or have maybe some free samples you can try and find the ones they like the best.
Okay, good. Well, thank you for all the great tips and we look forward to having you back on the podcast.
Sounds good. You're more than welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk. If you like what you just heard, we hope you'll pass along our web address, www.barkandwag.com, to your friends and other pet owners. Have a pressing question for a veterinarian? Ask your question at barkandwag.com under the podcast tab. This has been a KFR production. Join us next time for another edition of Bark and Wag's 15-Minute Vet Talk.